My name is Gilly, and I'm a puppeteer who has been puppeteering for a good 40 years. And I'm delighted to be involved with this Ramayana. I was born and brought up in India, and I love this epic and the Mahabharata. These are two of world-class stories that should be known by everybody. And we're doing it with puppets because there are many things that humans can't do, which puppets can do much better, like great big battle scenes and flying and transformations, and therefore we can use puppets to their best ability.
When puppetry is put on and it is done well, then, if it's done to a high level, then it stops being purely for children. It can be a very serious art form.
A great delight to be working on the Ramayana, which quite honestly is a story I didn't know anything about. It seems to me to be a very exciting, like, fairy tale.
I knew the story, but only in a very basic way. I knew that Rama rescued Sita and that Hanuman was involved somehow, but that was what really appealed to me about coming on board with the project, was getting the chance to learn more about it and learn those details. I mean, all of the puppets are beautiful puppets, but in terms of who's most fun, I really enjoy playing Shapanaka.
I had a small idea of the story because of learning it in primary school very briefly. So if you asked me, tell me the story of Diwali, I could probably give you a really boiled down version of the story, but the detail, like the finer details, probably weren't there. But coming onto the project, I learned a lot more about the story, which I didn't know. My favorite character in our performance, in terms of the puppet, I think is Hanuman, because he's just so expressive, really, and he just looks amazing on stage. And when we had the lights on Hanuman as he's floating to get the flower, yeah. I think that's such a mesmerizing moment in the performance, and it's just such a beautifully made puppet. And the way that I wasn't operating Hanuman, but the way Amber was operating him was just so impressive.
Just a vague memory from primary school. They told us it was Diwali. There were these colourful lamps, and there were these characters called Rama and Sita, and some bad guy with 10 heads. That's pretty much all that I had. And I said Ravana would be the one who I formed most of a connection with in that time.
I loved creating the background music for the different scene for the Ramayana puppet show. It was good to blend flute with other instruments.
This story, the story of Ramayana, is a very, very important story for Indians. And I really, really like being a part of it, as it really means something, because it shows a very big importance for Indian people, for Indians. And for example, this story is like Don Quixote de la Mancha for Spanish people. My favorite character was probably Rama, as he was really the main character of the whole story, as he appeared everywhere and every time. And I really liked him as he was showing strength and he was showing hope all throughout the story, which was really, really engaging and really helpful.
What I loved the most was Sita, because I think that she's such a strong character and she has this subtle strength to her. For example, when I narrated that she lifted Shiva's bow, that really stood out to me, because it is a show of honor, and she managed that when she was so young. I think she's this very complex and strong character, and I find her very inspiring as well. I find that Rama and Sita's marriage is a very, very endearing moment, because somehow you get the sense that there is true love in this, and the sacrifices that Sita was willing to make for Rama are incredible. She left to live in the forest with him. So I think it sends a beautiful message about love. However cheesy this sentence may sound, I think there is something very genuine and something that goes to the core of human nature in that moment.